is now time. It is 7:05. I want to begin by first again saying thank you, everybody, for your patience, your dedication, and your good humor while we resolved a technical issue. Welcome to Toastmasters, where we figure stuff out and nothing stops us, even though we want to go and pull out our hair. My name is Jackie Kessler. I am the Program Quality Director this year for District 53, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this first timers pre-COT crash course. Today, our amazing, fantastic, and superb training chair, Stephanie Ann Roy, DTM, is going to be telling you all about what you can not necessarily expect, but what you need to know to hit COT running. Enter it on the ground floor because the actual club officer training is going to be starting next week. With that, I'm going to pass control of this pre-COT training session over to Stephanie Roy. Stephanie, take it away.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jackie. And I'm just going to fix up my screens to make sure I can see you all and see the chat. Excellent. All right. So yes, like Jackie said, this is going to be just some preliminary information under the assumption that this is your very first time diving into anything outside of your club. So you've been doing things in your club. Maybe you've been a Toastmaster for a couple of years. Maybe it's only been a few months, and we want to make sure that we're kind of explaining some of the shop talk that you might hear, some of the basic stuff that the more veteran Toastmasters may take for granted. So we're trying to give you that basic foundation. So as we get started here, I just want to get a little bit of an idea of where we're coming from. So real quick, by a show of hands, thank you for all the videos that are on. For a quick show of hands, who's feeling excited about taking on their new officer role? Ooh, I got double hands. Nice. Excellent. All right. Who's feeling a little bit overwhelmed with this new role that they're taking? Oh, everyone's a little bit. And is anyone feeling kind of completely lost, have no idea what they're doing, not overwhelmed because they don't even know what's happening yet? Oh, pretty good. All right. All right. So we're doing okay. I like it. That's good. That's a good temperature read. And then in the chat, real quick, how long have you been in Toastmasters? Just so I have kind of an idea of what we're working with here. And Sharon's going to come in with like, since the dinosaurs. Like she's been around forever. Well, all right. So 6 months, 2.5 years since February. This is good. I'm hoping this is going to be very helpful. 9 months. Yeah. So a lot of you guys have joined within the last year or so. And that's really who I had in mind as I was putting this together. 18 months. Awesome. All right. And then last question. Have you signed up for club officer training beyond this evening? Give me a thumbs up. Yes. Good. Yeah. Excellent. Very good. That's the important part. Not yet. We'll show you how to do it this evening. It's really easy. We'll make sure you know where to go. And there are going to be more dates coming soon. So if you've looked at the schedule and you're not seeing anything yet, there are going to be more options coming. All right. Couple of housekeeping things just to set the stage so we know what we're talking about this evening. This is not role specific. So if you're here hoping to learn exactly what a VPPR does, that's not the conversation we're having today. That'll be at club officer training or the in-person TLI that's coming up, over the next couple months. This does not count towards your required training. So if you only come this evening, it won't count towards the requirements. So make sure you do sign up for that club officer training. You can do it here. That's kind of a clunky link to type in. So it's actually really easy to find if you go to the District 53 website.
Yep.
There's a bar that says training, and then you can a sub-menu option that just says club officer training schedule. And we'll look at that again at the end. So, but I just want to make sure y'all understand that you do need to sign up for the extended club officer training. All right. And now here is my warning for you all. I tried to make this as approachable as possible, but really, like I said, what we're doing is we're addressing all of the details that help you understand what's going on the more macro scale outside of your club. So this is going to feel a little bit like a crash course. There may be a bit of a fire hose. Just breathe, relax, just take it in. We are here to help you. You are not alone. You can take notes if you want to, but you don't have to. This doesn't have to be memorized. Questions are encouraged, but there's no test on the other side of this. You're going to have a lot of time to figure out what all these things mean, and all the little details and nuances of really diving into your new role. And our goal today is really just to get you acclimated to some of the Toastmasters language that you may not have experienced yet. I remember Patty Walter, who is one of our recent past district directors, talking about how for her first 5 years in her Toastmasters club, she had no idea that there was anything beyond the club. She was in a corporate club, it was relatively siloed. She was just a member. She did not know that there was a greater world. So that's kind of where I'm operating from with this. So I apologize if some of the things we talk about feel obvious, but I really wanted to cover, eliminate any assumptions that we might make. And as you go through your training and this year in your officer role, the most important thing to remember is that this is about your growth as a leader and communicator. So, as you're taking on different projects, as you're investing time in different skills, be thinking about how this applies to your Toastmasters goals, to your life outside of Toastmasters. What are the skills that you're building? What are the lines on your resume that you can add, or your LinkedIn profile? How is this going to help you outside of what you're already doing? And maybe it's just contribution and fulfilling that need to help others and contribute to something bigger than yourself. That's awesome. But really, you want to be thinking about, why are you in Toastmasters? What skills can you grow? Okay, does that all sound good? Can I get a thumbs up? Yeah, awesome. All right, here we go. So here's what we're talking about today. We're going to be looking at the structure of Toastmasters, so you know some of the words and lingo and roles outside of your club. We're going to be talking about the big 3 tools that you're going to want to be aware of as a Toastmasters officer. And then we're going to also look at the key websites and resources that you're going to want to be able to find. Again, we're not going to cover all of it. Toastmasters is over 100 years old. There is a lot of stuff that you can dive into. There's a lot of layers, there's a lot of opportunities, and there's a lot of information. We're just going to touch the tip of the iceberg so you feel a little bit more comfortable. All right. So first thing we're going to look at are how the officer roles all kind of fit together. So the anatomy of your club, because you may have just gotten shoved into this officer role without really knowing what's going on. I have heard that story many times. So as you all know, you have different roles that people take on in the meetings that help a meeting happen. In the background, kind of underneath it all, there are roles that people take on for a year or maybe a few years, depending on what they choose, that help support the club and keep it functioning. Those are the roles that you all are taking on this year for the very first time. So we're going to look at kind of the interaction between them. This is very high level. I'm sure you already have a basic understanding of what your role is. I just want to go through all 7 of the main ones. There's also the immediate past president, but they're kind of as a mentor for the new president. So we're going to go through those 7 main roles just in brief. And that's your executive team. So when y'all show up to your executive meeting, these are the people that are going to be sitting around the table or on the Zoom call. So first, you've got your president. That's the chair of the executive committee, and it's also the cheerleader of the club. So they're the ones that are there to support, help back everybody else up, and lead the team forward. Your VP of education is focused on the educational programming. They're helping fill the agendas, they're dealing with pathways, and then also the mentoring program. VP of membership is dealing with membership, as you might guess. So their focus, their main areas of responsibility are going to be guests and new members, bringing in new members. VP of public relations is the outward facing role, looking at marketing or anything where you're sharing with the community about your club. Treasurer quite obviously, is going to be dues and finances. The secretary is dealing with the administrative stuff. There's a couple of reports they got to file throughout the Toastmasters year, like the new club officer list. They're taking minutes at your meeting. They're kind of dealing with that background stuff. And then you've got your sergeant at arms, which is a role that can vary depending on whether your club is virtual or in person, but they're kind of the host of the meeting. They often deal with the stuff, like hold on to the actual physical items. Maybe they set up the Zoom room, but they're really managing all of the nuance, like the details behind the meeting. So how these all fit together, which is what I'm hoping will be helpful to share this evening as you get ready to go into your more intensive and detailed training, is kind of the flow of how these work. So you've got your president, again, who's the leader, kind of at the center. They're leading, but they're also supporting. They're helping pick up the slack if somebody else needs support in their role. And then when somebody is going to find out about your club, probably their first point of contact or the first thing that they'll see will most likely come from the VPPR. So they're the one doing the marketing, the website, the Facebook posts, that type of stuff. And then once someone comes in as a lead, then they kind of get passed off to the VP of membership. The VP of membership, one of the biggest parts of their role is nurturing those leads into guests, and then those guests into new members. The treasurer is the one that's collecting dues, both for existing and for new members. And then once a member comes in, now the VPE generally takes over and sets up that new member with mentoring. And they're also continuing to mentor everyone in the club as they're moving through their pathways, encouraging people to use pathways, all that good stuff. The secretary is in the background doing the administration, like we talked about, and then the sergeant at arms is helping to host the meeting. So that's kind of the flow of how everybody works together, and just at a, again, very high level where each person's area of responsibility lies. So, do you have any questions about that? Probably for the most part, most people probably knew coming in general what the roles were, but I do want to check in. Are there any questions about any of this? We good to keep going? Yeah, awesome. Cool. All right. So now pulling it back a little bit and looking at it from a higher perspective, we're going to look at the anatomy of Toastmasters in general, because this is one of those things that maybe you've noticed an area director come into your meeting. Maybe you've never heard of an area director. So the way Toastmasters work, you, the member, are part of a club. Your club is part of an area. That area is part of a division, which is then part of a district, which is part of a region, and then it goes all the way up to Toastmasters International and World Headquarters. Something that a lot of people don't realize when they first really start getting involved in Toastmasters is Toastmasters is a nonprofit. So there are people at World Headquarters in Colorado that are like staff that are getting paid, but everyone from y'all to your area director, to your district leadership, to the international president of Toastmasters, all volunteers, all the way through. Nobody's getting paid to do this. We're all here because we just really, really like it. And there was a club I was mentoring. They were a brand new club, and the first time the area director came in, they were like, "Oh my goodness!" They were all nervous, and it kind of helped relax them when they realized that at all of these different levels, like Jackie, as one of the top leaders in our district, she's just a Toastmaster, just like you guys. She's just said yes a few too many times. so we're all here just to help everybody succeed. That's our goal. So now at these different levels, we've got a key one, where a lot of the fun stuff happens. And you are a part of District 53. You've probably realized that now that you've signed up for officer training. If you see D53, that's your district. Again, I'm here to not make assumptions about what people know and what they don't know. So all the fun stuff, well, not all the fun stuff, lots of fun things happen in your club, but a lot of the big fun stuff happens at the district level. As club officers, you'll probably never see our region advisor. You probably won't go much higher, but you'll get a ton of support from the district, from officer training to contest help with preparing and administering contests. You also have the conference. That's a really awesome event that we have every May. So that's there. That's where like the meat and potatoes of the stuff that happens in Toastmasters, beyond your club is going to happen. And then just real briefly, and then I'm going to let Jackie chime in here. The other assumption that I don't want to make, because I've used it in conversation and had a new Toastmaster be like, what? TI is Toastmasters International. So if you hear us talking about TI, it just means like the larger organization. Take it away, Jackie.
Thank you. And just super quick, you mentioned that we may never see our region advisor. Actually, we may. If you sign up for the COT, our kickoff COT, Club Officers Training, on Monday, July 14, our Region 5 advisor, Lisa Q, is going to be delivering the keynote address on the Club Success Plan. Just wanted to put that out there. Thanks,
Yes.
Stephanie.
Yeah, no, and my first few years, like as an area director, I don't think I knew our region advisor at all. It's just sometimes you cross paths, sometimes you don't. But yeah, we're really excited. Jackie said she's an amazing presenter, so
Totally.
should be very fun. Excellent. All right, so don't get overwhelmed by this. This is just a graphic that I found that has like all the different people and stuff. But the key thing that I want you to know, the key people that you're going to want to figure out who they are, put some names to titles. You've got, well, first of all, there are district committee chairs like myself. I'm the training chair. I'm happy to help you if you have questions. I was Pathways chair last year. I'll talk about pathways ad nauseum if you let me. So if you guys have questions, feel free to reach out. And there's also other committee chairs out there too. You can learn about them on the district website. But the 5 key people that it's really good to be aware of: your area director, who I believe, Jackie, we've got most of the slots filled, right, for this year?
Correct. Mohan is looking just for 2 more.
Awesome. Yeah, so those will be, who your area director is will be available on the website very soon for the new year. That area, like we said, is part of a division. We have 5 divisions in our district, and the division directors you'll be able to find them on the website. So if your area director can't answer a question, they'll pass it up to the division director. If the division director isn't sure, then it goes up to the district, and there is a trio that helps really support and drive the district forward throughout the year. And those 3 people are the club growth director, which has to do with building new clubs, program quality director, who's in charge of the existing Toastmasters programming, like club officer training and the conference and all of that type of stuff that goes on throughout the year. And then the district director is the one that leads it all. So they're like the president of the district. And this year, we have a really awesome team. I love these 3 humans. They are fabulous people. So Mohan, who's actually a member of my home club, is our district director. Jackie, who's here this evening, is our program quality director. And then Liz Keeling from New York, from Division E, is our club growth director. So these are 3 names and faces of people who have said, at least for a year, they're going to make their full-time second job be Toastmasters. So they have a lot of knowledge, and they're very excited to support and help you all. Division director. Oh, a division. Yeah, Sharon's here as a division director, right? Yes. Yeah. I still haven't memorized the list, even though it's only 5 people for this year. All right. So, any questions on that kind of anatomy of Toastmasters? I think the one other thing worth mentioning for you all is the area director, twice a year, part of their role is to come in and do a club visit and then fill out a report on how your club is doing and then submit it to TI. You will also see a copy of that report as a club officer. So that's someone that you should definitely see at least 2 times throughout the year. Oftentimes they try to get there more than that so they can get to know you. So we feel good about this. Is this all easy and obvious so far? Awesome. All right, very cool. All right. So the next thing are the big three. These are the big three tools you want to be aware of that your executive team should be using to help your club grow and succeed, which means your members are growing and achieving and succeeding and excited and motivated and all of that. And Toastmasters does love acronyms. So we've got MOT, Moments of Truth, DSP, which Jackie already mentioned once in passing with the club success plan, and then DCP, which is the Distinguished Club Program. You'll hear DCP a lot. The Club Success Plan is a big focus this year. And then Moments of Truth sometimes gets talked about more than others, but your club should be aware of participating in working with all three of these things. So we're going to go over those now. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in chat or just raise your hand. It's totally fine to interrupt me. All right, so the first one, oh, actually, hold on. I have one more slide first. These three tools kind of cover, the mind, body, and heart of your club. So each one is going to one's going to be a little bit more of a cognitive, the other one's a little more of a physical checkup, and then you've got one that's a little more getting your club members talking to each other. And then we're going to go into each one a little bit more. Jackie, what you got?
I love the mind, body, spirit. I'm just super curious. Show of hands. Have you heard of any of those acronyms so far in your time in Toastmasters? DCP, CSP, MOT. Have you heard of those acronyms? I'm seeing some head shakes.
Yeah,
I'm seeing some nods.
Drop in chat the ones that you've heard. Actually, that's an interesting litmus test, especially with so many new.
Yep, Mary Beth has heard of the DCP, so has Yamini. And by the way, if I'm mispronouncing your names, please do correct me. Irina says DCP, Raj says all three, Jay says DCP. DCP seems to be the big one. Yep, Mary Beth also DCP, Paula DCP. DCP seems to be the winner.
Yeah, and that is the one that is going to be the one that the officer team shares with the club the most. The Moments of Truth and Club Success Plan kind of all lead up to achieving the DCP. So let's look at each of them in brief. So Moments of Truth is the conversation starter. It's basically an evaluation of your club. It's really, really good, like essential to do with your club officer executive team. It's even better to do it with your whole club. But what it does is it looks at 6 of the key categories that Toastmasters International has identified as being important for having a successful, vibrant, robust club. So it's going to take you through each of these, and it's a really simple tool. This is it pretty much. So you've got a 2-page evaluation where club members go in and they rate different areas of the meeting from 1 to 5. And then it kind of helps you go through and evaluate. And then there's a best practices chart. So for different challenges you're having, it offers some possible causes and then gives you some recommendations of things that you can work on. And one of the key elements with this is not just emailing it out to your club and saying, hey, we did it. It's really the conversation that happens. Last year, my club did it over pizza. We all showed up at a local pizza place and we had a conversation. Half the conversation was on Moments of Truth. The other half was just like spitballing ideas or chatting, connecting. But that's why this one is kind of the heart of it, because it should be sparking conversation and thinking, if membership is something that you need to work on in your club, growing your member base, which a lot of clubs are thinking about. This is where you have those really like kind of hard heart-to-heart conversations about what do we need to do to make this a more welcoming environment so that people want to join. So Moments of Truth, pretty straightforward. Oh, I haven't mentioned this yet. I usually mention it at least 3 times during one of these things. If you need to find something, it's all on TI, toastmasters.org, but there's so much on there, sometimes it can be hard to navigate. So my go-to is always just Toastmasters, Moments of Truth. Toastmasters, how do I run an open house? Whatever you need to do, just Google it. You'll get the TI resource first, but then you may also find some other cool resources that other districts have put out there. So Moments of Truth is your first big one. The next one is the club success plan. This is where you take moments of truth and you kind of distill it down to, okay, what is our action plan for this next year? What are we going to do between now and June 30th, 2026? Not going to spend a whole ton of time on this because in club officer training this year, we're spending a third of the 3 hours talking about the club success plan. So you're going to get more club success plan than you need, hopefully. Although it's pretty easy, I think, and they keep making it better. I like the revision they've made this year. And really, what the club success plan points to is the DCP, which it sounds like most of y'all are familiar with. So where the club success plan is the thinking through your plan, the DCP is really it's your health check on your club. It's like I think most of y'all are aware of it, but it's really those 10 goals that again, after 100+ years of experience, Toastmasters International has found these are the things that that thriving clubs do. So, and it's really looking at those key elements. So, having a robust membership. I mean, maybe you have a group of 8 really great friends. Eventually, that club is someone's gonna have to drop off for some reason. So, really having a strong membership base is something that Toastmasters has found helps a club survive and thrive. Participation in the Toastmasters programming, in pathways, in the education program, and also having that trackable progress of I've achieved this level. I'm making progress that I can tangibly see and understand. Those are things that help members feel like they're getting something out of the program. So then they want to stay, they want to tell their friends about it. And then the final thing is engagement with the organization. So making sure that you're showing up to club officer training, taking care of, crossing the T's and dotting the I's on the administration side. Those are things that help a club succeed. So we've got 10 goals that we work towards throughout the Toastmasters year. As you can see, and probably have already seen, over half of them are education goals. So it's really a lot of it centers around pathways because that's the members growing, learning, achieving their goals, expanding their skill sets, learning new things. So you've got 6 different goals for education. 2 of the remaining 4 goals are about growing your membership, making sure new people are coming into the club, bringing in that new energy. And then you've got your training goal, making sure your club officers are getting what they need in terms of the information to run the club successfully, like you guys are doing this evening. And then the administrative stuff, club dues, put it on time, club officer list on time. So those are your 10 goals. And it sounds like most of you all have seen this before. And then I think does anyone want any more does anyone want any more nitty-gritty information about how this works? Like, does it all make sense? We good? Yes, Paula. Oh,
Yep, you're still on mute, but I think you're working on that.
yeah.
If you can't unmute, there you go.
Okay. I have a question. I will be in charge of membership, and I was wondering if there is a point that too many members is too much. Like, is there an ideal number of members so it doesn't get too big, like a class that is overcrowded?
So I think that's going to depend on your club. So charter strength, really like the recommended honestly minimum that Toastmasters really wants every club to shoot for is 20. The absolute minimum for a club to be in good standing is 8, but that's definitely not where we want to set that low bar. Where 20 is where we want to kind of sit. And then I think from there, it's really going to depend on the club, how long the club meetings are. So I know like Greater Stanford in Division A, I think they have 40+ members right now, which is awesome. They meet in person, and I'm pretty sure that their meetings are like 2 hours. Yeah, they're 2 hours long. So there's a lot of space for speaking slots, which is the biggest thing, making sure people get an opportunity to speak. Now, my club is a lunchtime virtual club. If we had 40 members, it would not work. So it's really going to depend on your club, but I would say 20 to 20, actually, I'm going to say 25 is your sweet spot. That's where you're trying to get to, where you're not, I mean, I don't know how many of you have experienced, starting a meeting without a full agenda or having to take on 2 roles in one meeting. Those are the kind of things that we want to avoid. Or a meeting where there's no speakers. When you have at least 20 to 25 members, then typically your agenda is going to fill out. You have more of a rotation of the officers, so there's new energy coming in. You get more referrals because people are, your club members are talking about you to their friends and family and coworkers. So I would say 20 to 25 as the short answer. Does anyone want to add anything to that, like Jackie or Sharon, or do you agree?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I agree that having that base membership of 20 is crucial. There's a reason why Toastmasters International says charter strength is 20. And that's because not everybody goes to every single meeting, even if they really want to. You need about a dozen people to have a robust meeting where people are not wearing multiple hats and filling multiple roles. So I've been a member of a couple of clubs where we aim for about 25 to 30 at my home club in Bethlehem. I've been a member where it's been more than 35. And when everybody shows up, it can get a little challenging to have everybody get a speaking role. So, like Stephanie said, it's going to be up to your club. So I would recommend, first and foremost, make sure you have that charter strength of 20 members and then grow from there.
Yeah, and then just for quick clarification, since most of you are probably from existing clubs, when a club forms, it charters. So the official documentation is called a charter. You have to have 20 people sign up to start a new Toastmasters club. So that's why we use the term charter strength, is like that's the number that makes a healthy club. That's how many you have to start. That's how many they want to see you continue with. So cool. All right. Any other questions about DCP? Cool. All right. Well, you have more time to ask questions too, so feel free to raise your hand. All right. So, in terms of qualifying for distinguished status, which is what the D stands for, is distinguished, it is changing a little bit this year. And the reason that we are emphasizing the club success plan is because that is now a requirement to be submitted to TI by September 30th of this year to be eligible to become distinguished. Again, it's pretty easy to fill out. We can even look at it if you guys have questions. Well, no, we're not going to look at it because we're going to look at it when you come to club officer training. So it's pretty easy to do. You're really just setting your goals towards DCP. So you need to have that filled out. And then membership, you do have to have a qualifying number of members to be able to be distinguished. So the club success plan and your membership are like, you have to check those 2 boxes, and then the goals come into play. So if you only have 8 members but you've hit 10 goals, well, I don't know how you would do that. That would not be a good year. But if somehow that happened, you would not be eligible for distinguished. You do have to hit a bare minimum. So you have to have that charter strength of 20, or there has to be a level of growth seen for you to, yeah. So is that what you're going to say, Jackie?
Yes. And a question that I've heard from folks is, if you're at 20, does that mean you still have to grow by 3 or grow by 5? And as Stephanie and Sharon are shaking their heads, you don't have to. Just want to make sure that that's clear.
Yes, it is an or, not an and. So yeah. So if you're at, I mean, I'm sure you guys can figure it out, but if you start at 12 at the start of the year, as long as you're at 15 by July or June 30th, 2026, then you're eligible for distinguished. If you start at 15 and you get to 20, well, now you're good. If you start at 12 and you get to 17, now you'd be eligible for select distinguished, as long as you hit the goals and you do the club success plan. And then something that's new for you all as new officers coming in this year is that new level of Smedley Distinguished. So that's 25 members and all 10 goals hit, which I have seen clubs do pretty regularly. So they're like there's select few, but that is pretty cool that there's there's now 100% goal that you can aim for in your club as well. So any questions about this level, this part of the DCP? I'm sure you all have veteran members of your club that can help you with this. Sharon, go ahead, and then Jackie.
So I just wanted you to wonder if you could explain net growth. I know you said it's 12 and 15. Sometimes people get confused. They get 8 new members and they think they're golden, but they lose 9. So they don't have that net. People don't always understand net growth.
Yes, you are correct. Yeah, Jackie, is that what you were going to bring up?
Nope.
No, okay, something different. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to come back to that in just a second, Sharon. Go ahead, Jackie.
No, that's okay. I really want to put a pin in my comment, and it can wait until after the slide. Totally.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, so I have, actually here, we'll do it this way. I'll stop sharing really quick and then reshare because I have a DCP like for my club up and one of the things I have ready to go. So this is my club this year. We did not hit distinguished, but really where you're going to want to look when we're looking at the dashboard is this top one up here. So it's not about how many members you add down here. In terms of the qualifying goal of your membership, you look at your base number and then your to-date number is where you're at, but then it tells you what's required. So because we started at 17 and you have to have 20 or a net growth of 3, like it says here, we had to get to 20 and we didn't quite make it. We've been hovering around 15 for the last few years, so we really got to work on membership. But that's where that net growth is. So even if we had 12 new members added down here, if we were still to date at 15, we would not be eligible. So hopefully that makes sense. Does that feel like it answers the question? Yeah, cool. All right, awesome. So I'm going to jump back to this briefly. All right. So let's see. So were there any other questions? I think we're good on DCP.
The one thing that I just wanted to mention. Oh, wait, Raj has a question in chat. Will we learn how to look at and interpret the dashboard? That's a great question.
Yes. So I am actually, that's coming next. At least a brief overview of how to interpret it. But Jackie, what did you have?
What I wanted to mention that I wanted to make sure is clear that the reason why we're talking about the club success plan and why we're focusing on it in club officer training, it's because you, as the club officers, you're going to be writing it for your club. So I don't know if that was clear, and I wanted to make sure that you know that because you are officers of your club, you're going to be playing a really important part. You're going to be collaborating as a team to write your club's club success plan, CSP. So just wanted to make sure that was painfully clear. Thanks, Stephanie.
Yes. Yeah, and we're going to be spending an hour on it in club officer training, so you will get more. All right, so now we're going to look briefly at the websites and resources that we want to make sure you're aware of that's going to make your time as a club officer easier. They're not going to be surprises. You guys could probably name them. So first is Toastmasters.org. That's where you're going to find Leadership Central, which if you haven't looked at it yet, is a new little card that you have available when you log into Toastmasters. We're going to look at that in just a moment. You also want to be aware of the District 53 website. You probably have already been there because you signed up for this, so you must have gone there to do that. But it's good to check in every once in a while. And the other thing from the district, if you're not already getting it, is the district newsletter. Jackie, if they're not getting it, they need to email prm@d53tm.org, right? To opt in.
If they're not getting it, they certainly can, but I think that they have to change their preferences as a member of Toastmasters International. They might have chosen not to opt in for messages. So I think that they also need to do that. Sugan's got his hand raised.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Welcome everyone, and just a one question, guys. I try to go on to the new website. It's not go, at least in my. I tried been trying that. It didn't go through. Could you please could you tell us exactly what is the website? Can you please sort of write it down in the chat so that
Which
we'll know?
which website, Sugan? Are you?
District District 53 website. It's not able. It's not going through.
Oh, got it. I'll put the D53 website in the chat.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, and Toastmasters, just going back to the newsletter, Toastmasters is they will never sell your information. They have no interest in spamming you. You get very few emails, especially as a member, you get very few emails from TI. As a club officer, you get a few more, but it's because they're telling you important stuff about how to do your role as a club officer and just a few things you need to be aware of. But it really, I mean, the newsletter is bi-monthly, and that's all you're going to see from District 53. So it's really, and to the level that you all are stepping up to as leaders in the district, it is not going to overload your email box, I promise you, and it'll keep you in touch with the things that you need to know moving forwards as a club officer. So now I'm going to switch back over to, yes, yeah. Switch back over to my web screen so I can show you guys. So when you log into toastmasters.org, which I'm sure you've done before, you'll just go to my home. And then you will have, the cards like you typically see. There is a club. I recently moved, and there is a club I inquired with, so this is what new members will see when they inquire with your club through the prospective member management. You'll see these cards that you've always had, but you'll have some new stuff pop up. So the annual business meeting, I'm not going to get into. That has to do with the Toastmasters International. That's a whole other can of worms. And voting for the next slate and all that kind of stuff. But Leadership Central is the key area that you're going to want to go in and explore sometime in the next couple of days. So there are 2 tiles here that give you more information about your roles. There are tutorials and things that you can check out. There's additional training that you can look at. Every club has slightly their own way of doing things, so definitely lean on your veteran officers as well. They'll give you the details, but for a general overview and maybe some ideas that your club hasn't touched on in the last few years, these are good resources. When it comes to managing your club officer role, Club Central is going to be a spot that you're going to want to check in relatively regularly. So, all right, I had it ready to go because Toastmasters is 100 years old, so sometimes it's a little slow. So in Club Central, there's not an overwhelming number of options in here. You can go in and click around and explore and see what everything does. Membership management, as you might expect, is all your club members. Prospective member management. If you are a VPM, you will be talking more about this tab because this is it's actually a newer tool that has recently been released, and it is awesome. As an outgoing VPM, it was super helpful for getting new members applications and just keeping a list, just keeping track of who our guests and our potential new members were. So VPMs, you definitely want to live up here. And then, as a president, you want to be checking in up here as well. And then you've got for club management, there's a bunch of different things here. This is like club officer assignments is where you should already be listed as a club officer of your club. You've got just the general information that shows up on the TI website. So if someone is looking for a club, this is where that find a club information is coming from. So VPPR, you want to make sure this meeting information is correct and updated. Club Success Plan is right here. Again, we'll be diving into that more, but this is where you go to submit your Club Success Plan. You've got more, basic information about your club demographics. The addendum of standard club options is probably not something you need to really get into all that much. If as VPPR, you're doing like an open house or something like that, and you want to submit it to TI so it shows up to anyone that goes to Toastmasters.org looking for Toastmasters events, there's a spot here to do that. Financials for the treasurer, club achievements, VPE, you want to go back and look at past records. It's actually kind of fun. It goes all the way back. So within my club, I mean, we chartered in, I think, 1997. You can look all the way back at all the awards people have gotten. And then once you get down to here, you've got, just like it says, resources and reports. And this is where you can go directly to your DCP dashboard. That was like a but the main message that you want to take from it is go poke around in here. Just see what you can see. It's pretty straightforward, and if you get stuck or lost on anything, feel free to reach out to us or ask in club officer training. So any questions about any of these tabs before I go to the DCP dashboard?
Can you please let me know how did you navigate to this particular screen, please?
Yes. So from the Toastmasters.org homepage, if you go to My Home, so My Home, and then you're going to see the stuff you normally see, like how you go to Basecamp. You will now have a leadership central area, and then Club Central is where you're going to want to click. And when you click that, it's going to take you to this screen.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Cool.
And Raj has a question for you in chat. For the club events, does that also include events that we do for the community as well?
That is a great question. I'm going to be honest, have not explored this tab very much. So I would definitely take a look at, open house or youth leadership. Yes. So I think if it's a typical type of Toastmasters event, probably. So let's see. Event type, open house, speak-a-thon, speech contest. That's interesting. It doesn't even have youth leadership on there. So yeah, so it's definitely something you can explore as a VP PR.
I would say if it's something an event that you are branding as your Toastmasters club event, then yeah, that it would belong on there.
Yeah. So, and it looks like the options, what they're really looking for are an open house, a speak-a-thon, and a speech contest. So those are the drop-down options that are available.
So is that like, sorry to interrupt. Is that like a formal open house, like with the standard Toastmasters like format for the meeting, or can it be something that we do for, like a community event where we're trying to table for membership and go out to the community or go out to the schools and do events at the schools? Because that's something because I'm part of the public relations and we're trying to do that for at least our club to get the schools involved, like the collegiate schools, more involved in Toastmasters. So that's something that we're trying to do.
I think
that's something, but I didn't see that option. So I wasn't sure if that's something separate or if that's something that can be integrated.
I would call it an open house and put it on there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it says that basically World Headquarters is just kind of curious about events that your club is doing. It says right here, this event log can be used for your club's reference and for reference at World Headquarters. And that details pop up there. So it's a reference. It's to help primarily you as a club to see what events you are putting out there. And it's also giving World Headquarters some insight into what you're doing as a club.
Yeah, and it looks like it'll also show up. So on Find a Club, I'm very zoomed in here. On Find a Club, you now have, I think there's people can go in and search specifically for events. So if they don't want to just find a club, they can find a specific event. It shows up on here too.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know how many of the general public are showing up here, but if someone happens to come across Toastmasters and they're looking in your area, or if you have a virtual event available, it may show up for
it's all about how you market it and how you connect back to the Toastmasters page. So yeah, that's good. That's good stuff.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So let's see. So we looked at club events, and then when you click, where were we? So you got Distinguished Performance Report. That's your DCP report. That's how you get to the dashboard. And you're going to see a few other ways to get to it. So like when you're on your homepage here, if you scroll all the way down, you can get to see, you can see district or distinguished club reports for anywhere in the world. So you can go poke around and see what's going on in China or Africa or whatever you want.
Just as a heads up, right now World Headquarters is doing their year-end closeout and getting things ready for this year. So the DCP, the Distinguished Performance Reports, etc. District Central is kind of maybe sort of not working until the end of July. So
Yeah.
there might be some wackiness.
Yeah. And for those of you that are coming in, if you're just poking around out of curiosity, you'll get a snapshot of different districts, and it's kind of fun to poke around and see what's going on all over the world. But when you click it, it'll take you from Club Central, it will take you directly to your club's report. And this is really this is what you're going to see. So in terms of interpreting it, just briefly, because we are getting close on time. I know we started a couple minutes late, but I really want to be respectful with everyone's evening time. You've got, if you're curious about what area you're in, what division you're in, your district, your region, all of that is available in the upper left corner. So you can check, like if you're trying to figure out who your area director is, step one is what area are you in? That's on your GCP. And then you've got your membership details. Now, like Jackie said, there is some updating that is happening. It's always a little wonky around this time of year. So as you can see up here, this information is for June, and it's the 2024-2025 year. So this is basically Talking Up Toastmasters end of year stats. Irina, I'll answer that in just a second. So you've got your membership information, your goal, where you started from, where you're at. And then the goals, the number of goals you need to meet to get distinguished. I would expect that this dashboard is going to update a little bit, because now I'm sure there's going to be something where they indicate your club success plan is submitted. They're going to add Smedley distinguished. So there will probably be a few changes, but the general information is going to stay the same. So now as you scroll down to your goals, you're going to see, so the goal is here, what you need to accomplish. What you have to date that has been recorded with TI is available in the yellow column. And then it also gives you a little bit of an indication of, what you need to do to accomplish it. So for us, if we had gotten one more person to finish a level 1 in their path, then we could have achieved this goal, but we were one short, so we didn't get it. So we had 3 out of the required 4 to achieve that goal. Same thing for new members, 3 out of the required 4. So I think most of this is pretty straightforward. If you guys have specific questions, feel free to definitely ask. I think the one area where it can kind of trip people up a little bit is the more. There's 2 that say more. So basically, if 2 people complete a level 2 in pathways, you get a check mark. You've achieved one of your education goals. Then, if you get 2 more, then you get a second check mark, a second goal finished. It's the same thing for membership. So if you get 4 new members, you get 1 point towards DCP. If you get 4 more, for a total of 8 over the course of the year, then it's 2 points, 2 check marks for DCP. Does that make sense? And are there any additional questions on that? Other than
just that Irina has the question that's in chat. Okay.
Yeah. So Irina, that is a question that many people ask. It comes up again and again. I think there are some people that are very motivated by clear goals and rules to playing the game. So a lot of times, like this, like for my brain, this is like, all right, now I know what I need to do. I know what I need to focus on. Other people, it's more about the experience. So the check boxes don't speak to them in the same ways. But really, like we talked about briefly, the DCP is like going to the doctor and getting the vitals. It's your checkup. It's how's your heart doing? You know, how's your breathing? What's your blood pressure at? All of those types of things, because these are the things that after 100 years, Toastmasters has found helps a club survive and thrive. There needs to be robust membership. There needs to be new people coming in. Otherwise, it starts to get a little stale and people drop off. There needs to be an engagement with the education program so that people are feeling the success of the Toastmasters experience. So what do you get? You get a ribbon for your banner, which is pretty cool. You get the status. You can say you're a distinguished club. You help your district move towards distinguished, which we are select distinguished for last year, which is a huge accomplishment from our outgoing trio. So that's really exciting. But in the end, it's an attaboy, and it's knowing that your club is doing the things it needs to do to survive and thrive in the long term. Jackie, did you want to add to that?
I do, yeah. Adding on to that is there's a saying that if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And ultimately, what the DCP shows you, it's metrics. It's in a snapshot, it's showing you as a club officer where your club is excelling and where you have opportunities to do even more. Like Stephanie said, based on 100 years of data and feedback, the criteria that you see in the DCP, hitting those specific 10 points and how you hit them, that lets you know where your specific club is doing well already and where you have room to do even more to get even better. And then you do get bragging rights, which is nice.
Cool.
And
awesome, Irina. I'm glad I helped. All right.
there you go.
So now I'm gonna take 2 extra minutes here just to wrap things up, because we did start just a couple minutes late, although I do understand if people need to drop off because of various things. But real quick, here's your assignment, if your mission, if you choose to accept it. The first thing is to sign up for training if you have not already. So that would be d53tm.org. And then my recommendation, my soapbox for club officer training, is start a master document of all the things that you're doing. Gather information from the person that you took the rollover from, and then just start collecting like checklists, or it's not going to be a lot, but especially if you're like VPM, take any email that you write to a prospective guest or a new member, like copy it and paste it so that you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. So have a master document where you keep your systems so that now your life is easier and you can pass it off to your successor somewhere down the road. So now they have a leg up in the right direction as they take over the role from you someday. And then finally, is as the outgoing pathways chair, explore your path for different high-level projects pathway projects that you can apply to your time as a club officer. So my homework, we found this amazing from D42, a really awesome club officer tool and checklist. So we're going to take that and modify it. And while I'm doing that, I am going to complete the level 4 innovation planning project of manage projects successfully, because if you're doing something for Toastmasters, you should get credit for it. And one of the things, as you might be able to see on here, is that this checklist gives you ideas of different pathways projects that you can complete. So my goal is to have this done for you by next Monday in 1 week when we have our first kickoff club officer training, so that you guys have some direction on what to do next. And there's even a couple more sections beyond this screenshot. It was really an awesome tool. And that's all I had. So thank you all very much. I'm going to put my email in the chat so you guys have it. And I will pass it back to Jackie to close us out.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you so much. That was really, really helpful. And I remember when I first stepped up as a club officer, I had no idea what I was doing. And I heard things like club success plan, and it made my head spin. So I wish that when I was first starting, I had a Kickstarter like this, a crash course like this, to help make things a little bit more understandable. So thank you so much. Folks, thank you for taking time out of your evening to come join us. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of you at Club Officer Training. On the D53 website, we've got our schedule, and the D53 website was posted earlier in the chat. Feel free to download the chat if you would like. And with that, I am going to say peace out. Thank you.
Quick
Thank you.
question. Yeah,
And
Mr.
yeah,
Vidya.
go ahead,
Yeah.
Praveen.
Yeah, I see like all other COT meetings are all 3 hours, and why it is only on the July 26th meeting is like a couple of 8 hours or something like that.
Yep, there's a question that was in the chat that I answered about that very thing. That's
Oh,
because
sorry.
that's okay. That's because on July 26th, that's not just club officer training. It's that plus what we call Toastmasters Leadership Institute, or TLI. It is in person, and along with providing all the same information that you get at the Zoom or online club officer training, or COT, you get an additional panel session with district leaders, and you have not only breakfast and lunch provided, you have a ton of networking opportunities in person with fellow leaders, club leaders across the district. And
Oh,
that's going to
that's
be
great.
on Saturday, July 26th, in Manchester, Connecticut, from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. And it'll be a
Something
lot
it
of
is
fun.
in the church, right? Okay, I think somewhere in the church. Okay.
Yep, yep,
I think
that's
it's
it.
lot more people expected in that. How many?
Well, we have to cap it at 80 people
Oh,
because that
thank
is what
you.
the church
Okay.
will allow. So we are
Mhm.
encouraging people, please do sign up, because if we need to, we'll have a waiting list.
Yeah, good to know. Like, so I'm just wondering, like, why it is like so that many hours, and is there any real benefit is there or not? Because I didn't have like so next week I'm going for like vacation, so
Sure.
first 2 days I can't attend. Like the third session I took it, so that's why like I wanted to make sure. Okay, I think it is going to be
Absolutely.
very exciting coming in person. I guess, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something for folks that were members prior to COVID, a million years ago when everything was in person. TLI is what we did. There was no COT, online club officer training. So training was an 8-hour experience. And we're offering this opportunity this time around to reintroduce what had been a tradition, not just in D53, but across the world for so very long, just to show people what else we can do with training.
Oh,
Thank
really?
you for the
Really?
question.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Sure. And with that, thank you so much, everybody. It was a pleasure.